celebrate October the 1st, carrying small Nigerian flags to ceremonies holding across the country to commemorate the day. But in recent times, the events have gradually taken the back seats as prevailing national issues such as insecurity, economic downturn, corruption, among others, are now at the forefront. Nigerians, especially the young ones who never witnessed those good old days, often referred to by those 50 years and above Nigerians, are clamoring for a return to that time when the cost of living was affordable for a vast population of Nigerians. And as we mark this year's Independence Day, what should Nigerians look forward to under the administration of President Bola Tinubu? And that's what we are going to be discussing now. We have with us in the studio public affairs analyst, the CEO as well of Chronicler and Associates, Akin Fatunke. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Kevin.
Happy Independence Day. Is that in order?
Happy Independence Day is in order. Utmost faith. Theophilus, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Right, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, the presidency has said the regular fanfare will be missing this year. The customary invitation to fellow presidents, fellow heads of state will also be missing this year to reflect the current realities. Essentially saying it's going to be a low-key celebration this year. How does that meet you? How valid is that?
Very thoughtful. Emotional intelligence coming to play. We still have a big elephant in the room. And either way you look at it in terms of legitimizing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's declaration since March 29 of 2023.
May 29.
May 29, 2023, from the February 25th elections. Exactly, there's a lot to share. 24 years of unbroken democracy. It's been with fits, been in starts, it's been wobbling, it's been fumbling. I like your intro, Kemi, when you said that corruption continues to be the Achilles heel on a march towards development. Poverty, all-time high, debt peonage, staring us clearly in the face, operating a constitution that looks like anything but a people-driven constitution, a constitution that has lied onto itself. We just go here and there. And so until we are able to bring out that legitimacy question, hopefully by early November, where the Supreme Court will be making the required pronouncement as regards if we have a properly elected government or not.
So that is a big issue.
It is a big elephant in the room, and it becomes a very hefty elephant depending on either side, whether President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will continue to be president of Nigeria, or say, for instance, it's going to be an Atiku Abubakar or a Peter Obi, a Kwankwanso.
He's not even going on to challenge, right?
But I am even saying if we now have to now start all over, we're going to get a tabula rasa where we are going to now start on a clean slate. Whatever, at the end of the day, we have a gigantic set of problems that will not go away, cannot be wished away, that needs to be looked at very drastically. What my friend and brother, the Reverend Tony Akinwale, had said, the blurry lines between us being a country, being a nation state that is being held by gumboots and force, and a nation that can work. Clearly, Nigeria has not worked in a way that any president that comes in will say he's going to be on an armchair and be able to govern. But so far, so good. 20, some close to about 23,000 I want to break that down into days. 23,010 or 11 days between that fateful Saturday of October 1, 1960, when we got our flag independence, all through the wumbling, fumbling, and finding ourselves on a Sunday, October 1st, 2023. That's some 63 years. I think it's been a combination of good, bad, and a lot of ugly.
A lot of ugly.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's an elephant in the room, and you've highlighted that. But are you concerned about the fact that over the years, 63 years now, we still have our elections being determined by the courts?
Very, very concerned. In fact, the flip side to that is that we really practice democracy? Are we really democratic in terms of nature and nurture? Or do we have institutions that function, that people believe in? Or is it that a zero-sum game of winners take all? I'm highly concerned, Theophilus, that we have a set of structures and people and culture, fault lines, that always will find it difficult to say we can organize, agonize less, and come up with credible elections. Okay, now, I do not really feel that you can get 100% perfect elections. But do we, by way of ethos and structure, consider the fact that we can be there for 4 years and we can, through the thumbprint, bring people in, and through the thumbprint, bring people out? And the concern for me, especially after the February 25th elections, clearly is that we have taken our din, D-I-N, our shouting, gone to the courts. So we find everything faulty in all institutions about ourselves. That does not augur well, and that is not democracy in the way democracy should be practiced. And the only way, in my humble opinion, is like Caesar's wife, not only to be above board, be seen to be above board, think of others before oneself, and making sure that technology, I put that advisedly, because it should not be garbage in, garbage out. Technology is made to work, and the entrepreneurial tag of the blind and the deaf who come together to fry groundnuts is such. One has to be whistling all the time for the other to know that the groundnut is not going down the drain. And then the other, of course, who can see, will really kind of ensure that all the external factors that is going to affect the groundnut, whatever it is that is going to come out at the end of the day, is good and is equitable, is fair, and is justiciable for all. I'm concerned, Theophilus, and if we know that we do not have the culture of doing the democracy principles from base principles, and then why do we spend so much money? Why do we spend so much blood if we believe that the courts should adjudicate? But I mean that is stretching it to an extreme. In Africa, we are the largest population of blacks concentration. We have the capacity. I know that very well. We have not measured, we have not managed, and we have not looked at our transition in a way that will engender that feeling. Now, we're not being all-inclusive in gender, those with physical disabilities, party system becoming so supreme and becoming so feudalistic that even within the party system itself, you don't see elements of democracy coming in to win the ticket. you pick it up from going to the lower to the highest courts and all that. It is not giving the kind of legitimacy that we have. I must also be patriotic enough to also say that it may not necessarily be a Nigerian-centric problem, even though it is all over the world, and even the democracies we are copying, we still see elements of agreement, disagreements, until all those fault lines are put in place, and we are capable of saying to ourselves, here we come, the youth of Nigeria, we are for you. The women of Nigeria, we are for you. The men of Nigeria, we are proud and resilient, and we are capable of governing ourselves under a constitution that should be people-centric, under a constitution that should be justiciable, should be fair to all manner of men and women.
Right. Mr. Fatunke, so, as a kind of reflection, when you look at the resilience of Nigeria, her people, institutions, the systems, and the like, some schools of thought will say never has our resilience been threatened as we saw it during the elections, the 2023 elections. And, when you look at, all the back and forth, the fact that some of these issues still find its way into our polity, some of these threats to our nationhood still finds its way. The elections have come and gone, but of course, we both know that, and you have said to that effect that we may say it hasn't entirely ended. Some elections may have to, be revisited. Courts are still very much active. But looking at our resilience, Nigeria, and what the future holds, what would it be like for you? What are the areas that you feel we should watch out for so things don't worsen?
One of the things that I would like to watch very closely is not to lie to myself and lie to generations upcoming, and that when Ahmadu Bello, the Sardana of Sokoto, clearly said that we have differences, we cannot pretend as if they are not, in response to Right Honorable Nnamdi Azikiwe says, well, let's forget them and let's continue on that path. We have fault lines. Religion is one. Ethnic coloration is another. And these last elections that culminated in the May 29, accurately corrected me, is still gone strictly along tribal lines. They are still there. So what will I be prescribing? Can we begin realistically to be fair and equitable? Easy words to mouth, but in really practicalizing that indicates for me, one, that we should begin to look at the political parties and be strict from the grassroots to ensure that democracy is practiced therefrom, from the register, from the beavers, from the IREV, and all that, that it's well seen to move in that direction. Secondly, to also say to me, come 4 years from now, I am not convinced that these fault lines that we are talking about will still not be there. They will continue to be there. Can we begin to now work them? Can we look at the constitution that we have?
All right.
Can we look at that constitution and then decide that that to say Nigeria is not negotiable is also lying to oneself? Can we,
Mr. Fatunke,
now
let me put you on hold.
Okay.
To further help our conversation and build on your points, let's bring you some of what the Nigerian youth are saying as Nigeria attains 63 years.
My aspiration is to see a better country. Hopefully we get a better country with time. I hope that the major issues we have in this country will be resolved.
So I'm looking for a better Nigeria whereby the youths who have, gone through, who have political experience, I know, trying to build a better future for us using their experience.
I hope for Nigeria to have a better economy, yeah, and growth and development of citizens because these leaders are no would I say we have like too many corrupt leaders than the good ones. So it's not helping the development of the country. I feel if you can do better, the country will be a better place.
I hope Nigeria will be a safe place for everybody, and I hope Nigeria will be a country where the leaders actually care about their people. I want to see more youths in leadership roles.
So we see young people there being patriotic and talking about their expectations for the country, especially as we attain 63. But Mr. Fatunke, I'd like you to react to their submissions.
They are poignant. They are direct. Vox populi was they. And their points resonate so very well with me. Just say, depending on what statistics you are looking at, 72%, 73% of these youths are the ones that will take on the reign, the baton for the finishing line. I think hopes are dashed. I think hope renewed, in my honest opinion, with what President
Yes.
Bola Tinubu is trying to fashion. I have seen ladies young, I've seen gentlemen young, I've seen people coming in. Initially, we were wondering why we had so many in terms of so many ministers, but it's like saying, like, you have the baton under, you go, swim, and make sure you don't allow the sharks to catch you. I like to also say that from what they are saying, which I also resonate with, is the fact that the unemployment that we have, drug abuse, the Mubad case, which needs to be handled very carefully. I just say another keg of gunpowder about to ignite, to be seen. That investigation, which I think is going on now, should be accelerated. The young should see that justice is being meted out. I like the aspect about the Inspector General of Police, breathing it down on the Commissioner of Police in Lagos, and then Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the Governor of Lagos State, also getting up. Should go beyond that to now accelerate and try and make sure we bring people to book. Having said all that, I will also say that when you say corruption, it takes two hands to clap, right and left. And the corruption has so pervaded and in a way and manner that the young ones must begin to now have that patience to say, wait, with patience, if I plant an ear of corn, take a few days for it to germinate. And when it germinates, it's not going to be for my mouth alone, it's going to be for the mouth of every other person. So the kind of patience under justice, under fair play, under equity, with a government that has decided that this is for you, just go out there and excel. I think we'll be able to get there. And Kevin, like I always say, it's an orchestra that has to play.
You have
The black key and the white key. So they are the white keys. The black keys must also come in. The experience and the resilience of the old, plus the innovative capacity and capability of the young ones must be respected down the line.
Do you get a sense that the talk about corruption is blinding our path to development?
Absolutely, not just now. I think it's gotten worse. It has always been there. The corruption, like Goodluck Jonathan was, our former president was trying to make a demarcation between stealing and corruption. And people still say stealing is corruption. Corruption is not necessarily dipping your hand in it, but corrupting the system, prebendalism, cronism. You know something is white, and you say it's going to be black, and you ask people to go to court, all that kind of stuff. Corruption is still the big Achilles heel. We must find a way to reward those who are not corrupt and who are doing well. and effectively punish. I dare say punish. I am glad that Mr. President started an aspect of it that's looking at our policies, monetary, and looking at taxation, and coming out to say that the tax should be skewed more against the rich, so that we can put something like William Tell to help the poor. I think the anti-corruption agencies should be given a free hand, and in giving that free hand, whoever that we are going to be getting into those positions are not only people of integrity that we all can see. We need to play down a little bit on our religiosity. And I like what is happening with the probe that is going on in the central bank, and so many things are unearthing. And then look at the other feather of the, I say feather of the elephant. Now, can an elephant have a feather? In our own situation, you have feather, it has legs. And which is security, security, security. We must make sure that we nip all those things in the bud, and always put the best amongst the rest in the center of attention and focus.
Let's get your final take now. The president will give his address, Independence Day address, on Sunday, his first since assuming office. And of course, he's been having lingering issues from day one with Labour. And Labour has also threatened to embark on an indefinite strike as from Tuesday. So many people are waiting on to see what the president has in, the offing. And, there is the issue of engaging, consulting, not closing the window of consultation and engagement with Labour. What are your expectations?
My expectation is a stratagem from a well-tested, professional leader that I believe Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our president, should be. And he's made very early, bold statements about reforms that are necessary, I dare say, very necessary. Implementation perhaps needs to be blunted in a little bit of ways. And so my expectation is that by October 1, 2023, when Mr. President is going to be speaking, we'll now to put some kind of flesh into some of the policies that he has enunciated. I want to also believe that clear-cut statements will be made to raise the hand and say, yes, it's been a bit slow, whether it's palliative, whether it's some of the things that we were talking about, and put timelines, ensuring that he himself, as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, his household, and the governors now begin to show some example by putting some things concretely down on the table, and not asking every other person to fasten seatbelts, and then they continue to be rotund. The policy are well honed. Foreign direct investments will come. I know it's still a bit of a maze going here and there. I think it's going to be hands-on, and assure Labour that whatever it is that you still do not believe in us, this is the roadmap, this is what we are going to be doing. CNG cars, this is what is going to be coming in, the refineries, the Dangote that is going up and down. Put specific timelines as to what we should be expecting. Which, yes, another big elephant in the room. Do we have the capacity to be able to do it? Yes, either from the savings or from very creative, I dare say, very creative financial ingenuity that I know the president has under his feathers.
All right.
Right. This is an ongoing conversation, and it's good that you have also helped to set the tone ahead of the president's Independence Day speech. Akin, Fatunke, Public Affairs Analyst, CEO, Chronicler, and Associates, thank you very much for sharing your Saturday with us.
Thank you very much, Kemi. I still believe in Nigeria, and Nigeria is going to thrive.
Right. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much for coming.
Amen to that.